the Amazing Kreskin is with us today. We are so excited to have you on.
Great to see you.
Thank you
God,
so
it's good
much.
You got a great crew here. You know, I just arrived. I was appearing in Toronto the past couple of days, and then before that, in Las Vegas, where I go back to headline at the Riviera until the middle of December. But we said I've got to have off this week because I'm in Canada. They said, okay, we'll block this time off. This is a great set here. And I saw some of the crew. They were nice people, a little bit flaky, but that's what I like about people. And he's the key guy. He's talking about.
It's true.
I like the two gals here. They're very refreshing.
Isn't that great?
I'm looking at all these colorful cupcakes here.
This is the first thing he sees when he comes in. He's like, I want a cupcake immediately.
No.
Yeah, it's in his rider.
No.
Well, it's
You're
so
live.
great to
The
have
show's live every day.
It is.
What time do you go on the
no
air?
swear words from you, sir.
By the
we
way,
can't. The CRTC will call us.
By the way, folks, it would be a rather dramatic thing if I told you what's really in his mind right now. No, I'm kidding you. I'm kidding you.
Well, I'll be honest. I was, a little nervous because, Deanne, our producer, said the Amazing Kreskin's coming on. I'm like, blank sheet. Don't do it. But I'm sure you get that all the time.
The other night it was in Las Vegas. I don't know, some lady was thinking of some name or what have you, and she stood up, and she didn't seem like she was from the North American continent. And I said, "Where are you from?" She says, I'm from Brazil. I said, "What's bothering you about a car?" She says, "Well, I'm trying to rent a car in the United States, but I live in Brazil." And I got in front of the audience, I said, "Your license plates, are they?" She said, "Oh, sir, they're complicated." I said, "Think about it." I gave her her entire license plate number in Brazil. All the detail. Wow. It's crazier than the one here in Canada. But it shows what can happen if a person concentrates. And that's really what I'm doing in my performance. Tomorrow I'm in
Perry Sound, as I understand.
Notice as a mentalist, he had to tell me, folks.
That's okay. I've been doing it. I dabble in it myself. And Perry Sound.
You got to tell me these things.
You're there tomorrow.
You got to tell me. What do you think, I'm a mind reader? But at any rate, but no, I travel as of a year ago, February, the airline industry announced I've now flown a little over 3 million miles.
Wow.
Yeah, I've been all over the world. And
how's your air miles? How's that going?
Yeah, it's
you go around the world a few times.
I'm only home about 4 days a month. Flying today is a challenge because you got the security.
Right.
Air Canada does not want me to announce this publicly, but you know how you have to get to airlines a little bit earlier.
Yeah, right.
Beginning next year, Air Canada wants you to get there 2 days early. You camp outside.
2 whole days. You got to camp out.
I like this guy.
You got to get a cot.
I like.
You know
what's exciting, and I got to say this because everybody's mentioning to me, who would have dreamt after all these years of touring that last year, the Tom Hanks movie,
Unbelievable.
Which the great Buck Howard, and you know what's really neat about it? I never knew John Malkovich, and when. Of course, they sent me the script a year earlier because the man who wrote it worked for me as a road manager in the 1990s.
Right.
The storyline, the off storyline, the love affair, and is not really my life.
That didn't really happen.
No, and off camera, the great Buck Howard is cantankerous, miserable. And my friend said, "What perfect typecasting this."
They pegged you. I can tell.
But everything that happened on stage, 38 incidents. I could tell you the month and the day when I had a mass hypnosis scene where there were hundreds of people lying there, and a headline story broke up to preempt it. All those things really took place. But you know what the most remarkable thing of all is? No. This John Malkovich, as Tom Hanks said, watched videos upon videos of me for 3 days. And if you watch, he really has all the mannerisms plus the handshake. Oh, he said the worst thing was, after that, for 3 days, Malkovich shakes hands with 30 people a day the way I do. Yeah. And Regis on the air said, because he's in the movie, he says, right. "Yes, I'm the dream of every chiropractor." But now there's a new movie out. I don't know if it's hit here in Canada. It's got 4 tremendous comedians, and I don't see television that much, even though I work in. But it's called Dinner for Schmucks.
Oh, yes.
And one of the guys, Zach, is a Canadian comedian.
Yep.
In the movie, okay. You got to see this, folks. When they go to see this Zach character, they sit down at the desk. He's on the other side of the desk, but it's a widescreen. You think, why is it a widescreen? It's only him. He claims he can read minds, he can control the brain, but his hero, and they got an autographed picture of me to him in the story. That's the guy who models. Poor guy. It's a crazy movie.
Well, you have been referenced in so many different ways, like too many to count, I'm sure.
Yeah, the crime series out of New York, CS, or whatever one's called, they use me, they refer to me in about 1 out of every 4 shows, they told me. But it's been flattering. A lot of the sports industry keeps mentioning me. Yeah. My life has been an adventure. I get a tremendous amount of mail now from Russia, from Poland, what have you, because television, everybody. Oh, remember there was a series years ago.
Yeah, yeah.
And I got to tell you folks something. This is the neatest. Remember the series was The Amazing World of Kreskin. It was on 5.5 years.
Of course, yeah.
Well, Hulu, in the United States, it took them a year, has purchased more than 24 of the series.
Hold on to that thought. That's called a teaser, as you know, in television. So we're going to hang on to the thought, and we'll be right back on Daytime.
I'm going to stay here and wait.
Welcome back to Daytime on Rogers TV. I'm Glenn Coulson, hanging out with the amazing Kreskin. He's making me more nervous. And I'll tell you what, he's like, I'm reading your thoughts right now. I hope my mom isn't watching. That's my big concern.
You know what? Well, she's not, that doesn't have a microphone on,
That's
so
okay.
she couldn't stand
It's okay,
here.
Deb. Well, it's nice to when we mute her sometimes. You
know? But,
no, in a good way.
Are you wearing a mic?
Yes.
Yeah.
Could she stand over here for a
she can
second?
come on in, I'm sure.
Can
Put up Deb's mic for a sec. There she is,
and
right there.
and no one can say this is prearranged because I just walked in. I mean, I drove in. I didn't get to finish. I didn't get to middle 4:30 this morning, so it's been let me. By the way, it's a new book I've written called Kreskin Confidential.
Let's absolutely talk about this.
And you can go on the internet because it's available everywhere. But I talk about when the Buck Howard movie came out. I wanted to comment. That's my 18th book or 17th one. I wanted to comment about a lot of the people I worked with because Johnny Carson, I did 88 shows with him, which is more than any guest in history.
Wow.
And on and on.
And Johnny really, when he liked a guest, when he liked somebody, he'd have him back and back.
He was tremendously good. I can't tell. But this has never been told. Fred DeCordo, who his producer, unfortunately, he's passed on, but a few years ago, at NBC, and Carson, of course, had retired. He says, Kreskin, what the hell were you guys doing? Nobody talked about this. When Johnny went to a break, he was very quiet. He's a very bashful man. If this was a party here, he'd sit in the corner there by himself.
Really?
Very
A
bashful.
wallflower.
Yeah.
But give him an audience. But so during the breaks, nobody ever spoke. But he and I got to know each other through the years. And the last shows, the break took commercial. We got out of our chairs, climbed under his desk and sat on the floor behind the desk, and nobody knew what was going on. He would tell you, he said, because he liked magic, but he said, we realize what you do is legitimate, Kreskin. I don't want people to be confused, but you handle cards. So he'd lay a deck on the floor and say, do something. And that was during the commercial. And the crew, all those years, they were, what the hell's going on back there? I'm going to show you something, both of you are here.
Sure. Do you want to stand? Do you need?
Can I stand?
Yeah, let's stand.
Let's stay right here.
Stand. Let's move
what
up.
the book's about.
Yep. Okay.
This is great, the mobile, and it's live, you know.
Yeah, it is live.
Let me get between you.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
And your first name is?
Deb.
Deb, I want to, trust me, I'm going to ask you, Deb, to close your eyes.
Okay.
Now, don't say anything to her. We're in a business where time is extremely important. Don't open your eyes. Would you hold your hand palm up like this? Now, I'm going to set this light. Can I ask which is the close-up camera if I decide to go to a camera? Which one would I turn to?
3.
Right there. Deb, I'm going to ask you to open your eyes.
Yeah, open my eyes.
Yeah, you're going to use your imagination in a different way. It's going to be dealing with sound. Now, take one step forward. So this is the peripheral. You see, he has my watch there. You didn't see what I said it to, did you?
No. Nope.
Deb,
Are you going to make him disappear?
You're going to cut her in half?
Now, this deals with the mind.
Yep.
I want you to close your eyes.
Okay.
Imagine you're in town. It is, for some reason, has been a great storm, and you've been disoriented because you've been working all longer hours. You don't know what time it is.
Okay.
And the only way you can tell the time is that there's a large clock that was put in town. And when I say begin, you're going to hear the chimes, and I want you to count. When they stop, tell me how many chimes it was. It could be anywhere from 1 to 12.
Okay.
You have to do this in your imagination.
Okay.
Ready, begin. Now, you count, and as soon as you finish counting, just tell me you're ready. As soon as they've stopped, because I'm not telling her how many. You just let us know, just say ready.
I think I only heard one.
Only one. Close your eyes again to make certain, because
Yeah.
it's interesting. She said that. Don't say anything yet. One. Is that what she said? One. Did she say one, folks?
Yep.
I'm not sure. I've got to ask you.
Yeah.
You really? What do you think? Am I not giving her a chance to change her mind? All right.
You are.
She won't change her mind.
Yeah, trust me.
You open your eyes. You open your eyes.
Yeah.
Is this interesting, folks? She will not change her mind. Most people say, well, he wants me to. Where's the close-up camera?
Right over here. Right
Look
over
at the time I set this to. 1 o'clock.
Let's get it right there.
There.
1 o'clock.
She literally got 1 o'clock. Now, I just did this recently on a national show in the States, and I had 11 o'clock in the count. All this time you had to count, and you kept staying at 1 because that was the time I kept willing you to stop at.
Okay.
So it shows how the mind can be influenced, isn't it? She's a good subject.
Wow, she is.
And especially...
Just like butter.
No. I took a tremendous chance, because most people would say 4, 5, 6, but I thought to myself, you know, you are receptive. You have a good imagination. I wonder if I can force you to stop it. And you would not. She would not go beyond the 1 o'clock.
No,
I said it to him.
no.
How much can I pay you so I can do that too?
Now, by the way, folks, I'm not supposed to make this public. I was attempting to read his thoughts, and I kept. There wasn't a lot going on at the moment.
I was just going to say, you know what? I was going to say the same thing, but I'm not Kreskin.
Nice to see you.
Thank you so much.
Well,
Have a seat again.
I thought you'd find that
We got some
interesting.
time. Oh, my goodness.
But you know what it is interesting? Through the years, because I spent all my life reading people's thoughts.
Right.
People think differently. Some people think in terms of sound. Some people think in terms of visualness. And if I can find out how a person thinks, the other night, last year it was in Vegas, a man stood up, an elderly man, and I said, you're thinking of your two pets. He says, my wife and I said, didn't you say to your wife, I wonder if you could tell me my Army number? He slammed his fist down. He said, this is at a restaurant we were eating earlier. I said, well, when were you he says, in the Second World War. I said, does anybody know your Army number? No, but nobody forgets something like that, any man or woman. And I gave him, in front of the audience, every single digit of his Army serial number, which his wife hadn't known for like 50 years. But it shows if a person concentrates. That's why I cannot, I go back to Vegas, but I'm not allowed to play poker anywhere than that.
I'm sure the casino managers come over and
My
go,
pictures
you know
in
what?
every rogues gallery in Spain and Italy and New Zealand and Canada. I can look at the table while I can't sit down.
But it's interesting you're saying that, and people maybe don't know that they have to be willing. They have to cooperate.
You have to concentrate. Something, unless a person focuses. You know what? I'm curious if unless a person focuses. This was last night, and every performance tomorrow night at the. Where am I appearing tomorrow night?
What we'll do? Yeah, tomorrow night in Perry Sound. But what we'll do? We'll take a little break,
and I'm going to show you why I can't play poker anywhere. Although the crew has agreed, this is really neat because I talked to the producer, and they're going to have a poker game with me later. I won't touch the cards. This is long as.
That's true. Stay with us on Daytime. More with the Amazing Kreskin. Welcome back to Daytime on Rogers TV. I'm Glenn Coulson, hanging out with the
Kreskin.
Amazing Kreskin.
This guy's a good guy. I like your crew
My
here.
chiropractor is going to call. He's calling me right now.
You know what
He needs some help.
What
Okay.
I didn't mention to you is that I haven't had breakfast yet, so if my voice sounds a little bit hoarse, it's kind of sort of dry.
I'll get you a cupcake later. That'll help.
In all my performances, and this will be true tomorrow night as well, I turn my check. You've heard about it, because in the movie that was the theme of the movie.
Yes.
I turn my check over to the audience while I'm out, and then I leave the theater. A committee from the audience.
Right.
Then another committee takes me from the theater. Or I'm doing some state fairs this summer in Canada. They'll take me to a trailer where the windows are shut and I can't see what's going on.
Yeah.
The bottom line is, my check is hidden anywhere in the entire theater. Last night, I walked back in, and the committee said they had done it. I said, well, you're never going to talk to me again. I want you to think of what you've done. And if I don't find the check, I do not get paid.
Wow.
And people say, have I ever failed? I've only failed 9 times. You could say that's not many out of 6,000.
I was going to say, how many appearances?
Well,
yeah, exactly.
But one of the 9 times was in New Zealand. And I'll never forget that as long as I live. We had a press conference the next day that was broadcast throughout the entire country because the night before I had lost $51,000. So last night I walked
Not at Vegas.
last night I walk in the theater, and up in the back of the theater, and I went into a row of people. Then everybody's, because you're in a theater row, you're all jammed together.
Yeah.
And I said to this lady, can you come out to the aisle? And she did. And for some reason, as I'm talking to her, I brushed my hand down her dress and outfit, and she says, oh my God. And there flooded the check. They had stuck the check in the folds of her outfit, and the only way to get it would be to brush my hand down. But one of the crazy ones was at the University of Illinois. It was 8,000. It was parents and kids.
Right.
And I walked back in the gymnasium, and I'm walking, and you can hear a pin drop. As it almost becomes like a mystery scenario because everybody's wondering what's going to happen.
Right, right.
I walk up to the elderly man, distinguished-looking person.
Yeah.
I have him stand. I say, you know, sir, this is crazy. I said, would you open your mouth? No check. I looked at him and I said, sir, I've never asked anybody this in my entire life. Does this have to do with the roof of your mouth? He reached and took out his upper plates and handed me the check.
Under his plate.
And the craziest, one of the craziest, which nobody, and the celebrities there will never forget, was, bless his soul, was a dinner in honor of Bob Hope, and he didn't know I did. I'd done television shows with him. He says, I didn't know in your concerts you have your check in. So I leave the Waldorf, and there's 1,500 radio, TV, and writers, and Hope's on the dais with Walter Cronkite. He's being honored. Hope is.
Yeah.
I come back in with all these broadcasters. They're just dead silent. Yeah. And I walk up to the dais, and between Bob Hope and Cronkite on the table, which is every table, they had a giant half-carved turkey. I guess if you wanted more meat, you could just push it on your plate. And I kept lifting it, and there was no check there. And I kept putting it down and lifting it, putting it. And I looked at the committee, and the committee says, Kreskin, do what you have to, because I thought, what's going on? I finally took my jacket off, rolled my sleeve up, and shoved my hand into the stuffing. They cooked in the stuffing of the turkey. See, I'm telling these crazy things. Imagine tomorrow night the ideas I'm giving everybody here in the audience. So you know, it's a nerve-wracking adventure because I can't script it. I have to rely. And universities, every year I go back, they get more diabolically. Oh, one university, I pull a man to the stage. He wasn't a student. He was dressed in a suit.
Okay.
And I said, gun. I thought, this is a stupid remark. Why did I say that? And I opened his jacket. It turns out he's a plainclothesman. I would never do this as long as I live. I've seen too many Hitchcock movies. I took the gun out of his shoulder holster and turned the barrel towards my eyes. They had taken tweezers and fed the check down the barrel of the gun.
Now, we only have a couple minutes
you know
left.
what?
So
I'm going to show you something.
Can we do something?
I'm going to show you something about card.
Carson, do you want to stand?
Yeah, Carson would go crazy about cards.
Okay.
Because he says, Kreskin, and it's a I've taken the jokers out of the day. It's he says, you know, I do sleight of hand. He says, what would you do? Do you play cards a little?
A little bit. I'm a euchre guy.
What do you play?
I'm
a euchre
guy, yeah.
That's preceded bridge with a left and right bower and so forth. You know, if I riffle the cards like this, behind my back, I'm not going to do the business with the magicianist. But if I riffle the cards, put your finger anywhere in the deck. Just put your watch your, let me riffle.
Oh, I see.
Got your finger in the deck?
Boom, I got it, yep.
Take the card under your finger out. Don't look at it, just take it out.
Okay.
Now, you don't know the card as you do.
Nope.
And by the way, folks, he looked at the cards. These are mixed, and there's no jokers, what have you.
Absolutely.
I want you to glance at the card.
Okay.
You got it clear in your mind?
Yeah.
Now, so I can't see it. I don't want to see the card. Put the 4 of diamonds face downward in such a way that it's not visible. Can we ask him? Now, see what it's thinking.
It's the 4 of diamonds.
We're going to have a poker game later. Great to see you.
Great.
And I'll see you. I'll see the folks tomorrow.
Oh my goodness! Yeah. So you're in Perry Sound, and you're going to wow them. I'm sure when people walk in the room, you know, they are trying to clear their minds. They're afraid of what you're thinking and what they're thinking. Really.
It'll be a 2.5-hour concert.
Really? Is that a normal amount of time?
Last year I did 303 appearances around the world. 303.
And I got to ask, why do you keep doing it?
My life has been an adventure. I knew what I wanted to do when I was 5 years old. I was reading thoughts when I was 9 or 10. People asked me would I ever retire, and I made a decision because my town had a big celebration last July, January 12th. I said, no birthdays, the mayor and all. It was my 75th birthday, and I didn't know this. That night, David Letterman had a big announcement about my birth, which I appreciate David doing that. And yes, I'm going to announce, I can tell you now I'm going to retire. I made it clear I'm retiring 10 days after I pass away.
Thank you so much.
All right,
I appreciate. I'm gonna work on that handshake myself.
In the spirit of broadcasting, I'm not going to say goodbye. Let's say to be continued. Okay.
To be continued, right here on Daytime.